the tense early days of the Clone Wars, an engagement broke out not between Republic forces and Separatist forces, but between Republic forces, representing the planet of Pantora, and a local population on Auto Plutonia known as the Tulls. This separate conflict, often called the One Day War, serves as a forgotten footnote in the history of the Clone Wars. Prior to this engagement, both Republic and Separatist forces had set up forward observation posts on Auto Plutonia. Separatist forces, however, began looking for better vantage points to assault the Republic positions, and in that process stumbled on the Tulls. In an effort to secure one of those better positions to assault Republic forces, the Separatists attempted to wipe the Tulls out. However, the Tulls launched a retaliatory strike, which ultimately ended up wiping out both Separatist and Republic forces on the world. After losing contact with the troops on Auto Plutonia, a contingent of forces from nearby Pantoro were sent to investigate. This contingent was led by Chairman Chichu, who was the chairman of the Pantoran government. Upon discovering that both the Republic and the Separatist outposts on the planet had been wiped out, a thorough investigation was carried out. This investigation ultimately led Jedi Generals Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi to the Tulls, a local population that was as of yet unknown to the wider galaxy. The Tulls simply requested that Republic and Separatist forces leave their world in peace. This solution, however, was unacceptable to Chairman Chicho, who thought the planet belonged fully to the Pantorans. The Jedi attempted to organize a diplomatic meeting where both sides could come to a compromise and make an agreement to peacefully coexist. However, Chairman Chicho refused to accept any peace agreement, and that ultimately led to a formal declaration of war in between the Tulls and the planet of Pantora. This formal declaration began what would be known as the One Day War. While Jedi Generals Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi attempted to broker a peace deal between the Tulls and the Pantorans, they ordered the members of the 501st that had accompanied this investigation to protect Chairman Chicho, but avoid confrontation with the Tulls if possible. The Pantoran objectives in their war with the Tulls was to wipe the Tulls out and claim Auto Plutonia as a colony of Pantora. Interestingly, the Republic forces serving under the Pantorans were simply tasked with defending the Pantorans. Meanwhile, the Tulls wanted to repel Republic and Separatist forces from their world, and sought to do so in the coming engagement. Both sides during this engagement used primarily mounted infantry, with Republic forces mainly riding bark speeders, while the Tulls were riding Narglatch local creatures, which they had been using as their mounts. In an effort to provoke the Tulls into engaging Republic forces and lead to a war that would hopefully wipe out the Tulls, Chairman Chicho led Republic forces on a march towards the Tulls' encampment. However, in the process, while passing through a canyon, they were ambushed by Tulls warriors, many of whom were mounted infantry. This resulted in a frontal assault as well as assaults with thrown spears from nearby cliff sides. This attack was remarkably effective, forcing the Republic and Pantoran forces to halt their advance and form a defensive position. This defensive perimeter was made up primarily of bark speeders, with Republic forces taking shelter behind their parked vehicles. This is very similar to the ATTE circle we see during the landing at Point Rain during the Second Battle of Geonosis. With Republic forces now forced into firmly defensive positions and having spears rain down on them from nearby cliff sides, mounted Tulls infantry began riding circles around the defensive formations of the Republic troops, raining more death onto the Republic forces. Seeing his forces outnumbered and outmatched by Tulls warriors, Captain Rex, who was in command of the Republic troops present at the engagement, ordered a retreat, much to the dismay of Chairman Chicho, who wanted to remain in the engagement. However, while protesting Rex's orders, Chairman Chicho was hit in the back with a spear and mortally wounded. Republic forces were able to withdraw from the engagement and quickly began attempting to retreat, with the Tulls in hot pursuit. While Republic forces were able to make it out of that canyon and into an open clearing, they quickly were forced into another canyon, where they faced another ambush by the Tulls. This one included a series of frontal assaults attempting to dismount as many of the Republic troops as possible. This left the Republic forces increasingly thin as they approached a cliffside. The bridge crossing the cliff was their only evacuation route and had been collapsed earlier in the engagement, leaving Republic forces stranded in between a cliff and an advancing force of Tulls warriors. However, it's around this time that a flight of LAAT gunships landed in in the area and deployed a Pantoran delegation in an effort to negotiate a peace. With the death of Chairman Chicho and his overrulement by the Pantoran Assembly, a peace deal was struck with the Tulls where Republic forces would withdraw from the planet of Auto Plutonia and leave it to the Tulls. That ultimately concluded the one-day war in a Tulls victory, with Republic forces withdrawing from the world and the planet of Auto Plutonia being recognized as an independent faction. While this battle didn't have a large impact on the Clone Wars as a whole, it did have a significant impact on the history of Pantora and on the history of Auto Plutonia, where the battle itself was fought. A lot of the tactics deployed by Republic forces during this engagement would be deployed on larger scales, most notably the ATTE circle during the landing at Point Rain. And if you'd like to learn about the landing at Point Rain and the start of the Second Battle of Geonosis, I'll leave a link in the upper right-hand corner to my battle analysis on that. And if you have any other engagements you'd like to see covered in future episodes of Battle Analysis and added to the archive, you can let me know down below in the comments. Last but not least, if you enjoyed this video, head down below, hit the like button, the subscribe button, and the bell icon so you get notified when I upload new videos. So for Sci-Fi Deep Dive, I'm Colin, and I will see you next time.